learners, today we will be studying about the proximal half crown and Pinledge crown. And I am Dr. Chaya Pandey, your mentor.
There are 7 types of partial coverage retainer. First one is 3/4 crown. Second is reversed 3/4 crown. Third is modified 3/4 crown. Fourth is 4/5 crown. Fifth is 7/8 crown. Sixth is proximal half crown. And the seventh is Pinledge crown.
I already uploaded 2 videos on the types of partial coverage crown. In the first video, I have covered 3/4 crown and reverse 3/4 crown. And in the second video, I have covered the 4/5 crown and 7/8 crown. Now in third video, which is the last video on the type of partial coverage crown, we will learn about the proximal half crown and Pinledge crown.
Now fifth, proximal half crown. It is basically a 3/4 crown which have been rotated 90 degrees so that the proximal surface rather than facial surface is left unveneered. See, in simple language, here we are leaving this proximal surface of these two tooth unprepared. Okay. Suppose we are giving the prosthesis on this second premolar and the first molar, then we are leaving this proximal surface unprepared. Okay. In 3/4 crown, we are leaving the facial surface unprepared, but in proximal half crown, we are leaving proximal surface unprepared. Now, what are the indications and contraindications of proximal surface crown? As a retainer in tilted abutment tooth, that is, if we need straight path of insertion, then we can give this proximal half retainer. Second, no caries and decalcification on the proximal surface, that is, proximal surface should be sound, and low caries index, that is, we are leaving this proximal surface unprepared, so there should be low caries index. If there will be new caries on the proximal surface, then we have to repeat that whole prosthesis. So if there is low caries index, we can give this proximal half retainer. Now what are the contraindications? Severe marginal ridge discrepancy, that is, if the marginal ridge are not sound, or if there is more gap or height difference between the marginal ridges, then we can't give this proximal half retainer. Now the sixth one is Pinledge retainer. Retainer of choice when an unblemished anterior tooth is to be used as an abutment in the aesthetically critical zone. That is, if we are preparing for anterior tooth where we need aesthetic, then we can give this Pinledge retainer. And basically this type of retainer is bonded by the mechanical bond. Here we prepare ledges on the teeth, and there will be pins on the retainers. These pins and ledge form a mechanical bond which helps in the retention of this type of Pinledge retainer. See the tooth preparation of this Pinledge retainer. Gingival groups are placed for lingual reduction. Here we make gingival groups. These are mainly the maps for lingual reduction of the teeth. Now, second, the lingual reduction is completed and an incisal bevel is placed. We have done the gingival reduction and we give incisal bevel. Now the third one is incisal and the cervical ledges are prepared. Now we have also prepared incisal and cervical ledge. Now fourth, indentation has been made, that is, grooves has been made. Here we have made this indentation, that is, grooves, small grooves. Now pinholes are prepared to a depth of 2 mm. The junction between the ledge and pinholes has been counter-struck. These are pinholes. These pinholes and this ledge should be counter-struck, that is, they are not in the same plane. Now what are the indications and contraindications of Pinledge retainers? Undamaged anterior teeth, that is, anterior tooth should be sound. Alteration of lingual contour or occlusion, if we have to alter lingual surface or occlusal surface for straight line or whatever is the reason, then we can give this Pinledge retainer. And for anterior splinting, where we are splinting wires from lingual surface, then we can give this type of retainer. Now what are the contraindications? Where there is large pulp, thin teeth, non-vital teeth, and the caries involvement. Now what are the advantages and disadvantages of Pinledge retainer? Minimum tooth reduction, minimum gingival involvement, access for the margin finishing and hygiene. That is, here we are preparing only lingual teeth, so less tooth involvement is there, less gingival involvement in there, and there is better hygiene. Now what are the disadvantages? Less retention than the full coverage, as we are seeing here that it's not covering all the surfaces, so the retention is better than the full coverage. Now alignment can be difficult, that is technique sensitive. Just for making loops and ledges, alignment should be accurate. So this is quite technique sensitive. Now what are the criteria for choosing pin? Usually 2 to 4 pins can be used. That should be 1 mm apart. It should be serrated because serrated pins are better for retention and resistance. Now the pin diameter should be 0.6 mm and the pin ledge should be 2 to 3 mm. And pins can be parallel sided or tapered. That is, there are two types of pins. The side of pins can be parallel or tapered.
If you find this video helpful, do like it and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Icon Shadow. Let's talk dental.